Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, I'm going to be showing you the 5 players that I think are AFL 2022 draft pick number 1 contenders. Now obviously there's only going to be one pick number 1, but I feel like these 5 players that I'm about to show you all do have the capabilities and talent to be the number 1 draft pick in this 2022 AFL draft. So let's go ahead and hop right into things. So the first player which the Giants may choose to bid on at pick number 1 is Will Ashcroft. He is from Victoria, that's his state. Position is the midfielder, inside, outside mid, very reliable player, definitely the best player in this draft pool. Date of birth, 6th of the 5th, 2004, 181 centimetres is his height and his weight is 78 kg, yep. And also, he will be going to Brisbane Lions because, well, that's the way that the father-son bidding rule works. He will get to Brisbane should they get enough draft points, which they've been working to do that lately. But I feel like the Giants could land a bid on this man. Now, he's been extremely talented throughout the draft and throughout his draft year. In 2022, he's had some brilliant monster performances. He had like a game or two where he went over 50 disposals in a game. And he's taken out so many awards over the course of this season alone. So he is definitely the standout player of this draft pool. And he will be a massive plus for Brisbane in the midfield. You'll play him inside midfielder. You'll probably even play him on the wing. And his impact to hit the scoreboard, he's just such a brilliant and damaging player. He could be an absolute game changer. And I'd be surprised if the Giants weren't to launch a bid on him. Because if they weren't, North Melbourne will definitely do that at pick 2. And Brisbane should have enough points to aid that. So next player is Aaron Cadman, who does play a bit like a Jeremy Cameron-like player, but Fremantle have used Luke Jackson as a bit of a hybrid role, and this is what Aaron Cadman could be. Now, Aaron Cadman has actually played as wing as well. He plays a wingman. Now, I don't feel like the Giants are going to do this with the 195 centimetre man who weighs 91 kilos. I don't think they're going to do that with this man. He is predominantly a key forward, and I feel like the Giants will use him as a key forward if they were to pick him up. Of course, state is Victoria, date of birth, 3rd of the 3rd, 2004. But again, he has been used as a bit of a hybrid player before, so whether they opt to do that or not, like what Fremantle are doing with Luke Jackson, like Fremantle have planned out to play a bit of a midfield role for him, but then also at times he goes into the ruck and go forward. Could this be Aaron Cadman, but instead of playing inside mid, could he go into the wing, into the ruck, and as a key forward? I feel like the Giants could do that. He's been used as that throughout like a bit of his NAB league career time. Do the Giants do that, or do they play him as their like key forward alongside Hogan? Maybe, maybe not. But I feel like, again, there are endless opportunities here for Aaron Cadman to become an absolute beast of a key forward and perhaps win a couple of Colemans in the future. But yeah, Aaron Cadman's also okay with the idea of going into state as well. So the next player which I have is Elijah Testas. Now, I've got no idea how to say his name, but I'm just giving it the best crack that I can. His date of birth is the 18th of the 10th, 2004. 186 centimetres in height, 79 kilos in weight. Position is a midfielder, state Victoria. Now, Elijah, I'm just going to call him Elijah. He does play a bit like Chad Warner from Sydney, does Elijah. And he's got some exciting capabilities as well. Had some great performances throughout the season. I feel like he should be able to go top 5 as well. Again, another really good player with some great strengths. Again, predominantly used as an inside midfielder, but again, could definitely play on the outside or maybe even on the wing perhaps. Again, his height can be a really good factor as well, 186 centimetres, so he could really fit into any team, not being that small midfielder, but not being that overly massive key forward midfielder either. He's just that perfect size which could slot into any team, and I feel like yeah, definitely by the looks of things, it could be Essendon that do take him based on his height as a bit of a taller midfielder. That could be a great option there for Essendon to take with their pick number 4, or maybe if North Melbourne want to go down that road at pick 2 or 3 perhaps. But again, I feel like he does have plenty of opportunity, especially with that height, 186 centimetres. I feel like that does give him a bit of versatility in that midfield to be played inside, outside, wing, etc. like that. I feel like there are definitely endless possibilities for Elijah Testas. Alright, so the next player is George Wardlaw, who does play a bit like Clayton Oliver from the Melbourne Demons. Now, he has definitely been the one that has matched Will Ashcroft throughout the 2022 NAB League season. Throughout this draft season, he's been the one to match Will Ashcroft, who has had some great performances. He's definitely fallen second, and if he had have played a little bit more senior footy than what he had, he could have definitely been right in the mix for pick number 1, could have George Wardlaw. Now, his date of birth, 18th of 7, 2004, 182 centimetres with 80 kilos of weight. His position is a midfielder, state Victoria. And again, I feel like he's definitely right up in that mix for North Melbourne's pick number 2 perhaps as well. Or even if things do change to Giants, pick number 1. Now, again, I do see great future for him. Smaller midfielder at 182 centimetres. But again, I do feel like he'll probably have some great running capabilities with that 182 centimetres of height that he has, and I feel like, yeah, he could be great inside midfielder. If you can't get your hands on Ashcroft, I reckon he's definitely the next best in this draft pool is George Wardlaw. He has Clayton Oliver abilities, and if that means he can run out of the middle with dash and hit the scoreboard, this player could be very damaging, could George Wardlaw, for whichever club he goes to. I feel like it could be a real great player for whichever club he lands at, which at this stage I do feel like could be North Melbourne. I do feel like he could end up getting to North Melbourne, could George Wardlaw, and I feel like he'd be a great fit in there. But yeah, I do think this man has the capability of being definitely one of the best players in this draft pool. And yeah, again, versatility of that 182 centimetre height, he could even play as a small forward if you really wanted him to. I feel like he does have some great abilities as George Wardlaw. Now, the next player and the final player on this list is Harry Sheezel. Now, he has been rumoured to go at perhaps North Melbourne's pick number 2 or 3. Now, his date of birth is 13th of the 10th, 2004, 185 centimetres, so again, got a bit of versatility there. 80 kilograms, 80 kilos, and his position is a forward or a midfielder, which does offer some versatility, which I'll be going over that in just a moment, because I feel like his versatility is probably the most exciting part of this man, and obviously state Victoria. So, Harry Sheezel, he's a bit of that small forward type role who does play a bit like Toby Green from the GWS Giants, and I feel like he does have a lot of upside, does Harry Sheezel, and I reckon he's been rumoured to go around that pick 4. I reckon he should go way higher than that. I reckon he should be right in that conversation for North Melbourne's picks perhaps as well, or even pick number 1. But again, the Giants do already have Toby Green on their team, so I don't really think they'll need Harry Sheezel, but should be in the mix for North Melbourne's picks for sure. Now, he's versatile. He can be played as a midfielder, inside midfielder, outside midfielder, on the 50 forward pocket. I reckon this man's got brilliant capabilities, and I reckon he could be right up there in the mix for North Melbourne's first or second pick, which is 2 and 3. Now, I think this guy's got some massive upside, Harry Sheezel, got some massive upside. He does look to be a damaging player because he can hit the scoreboard, he can mark the ball as well. That is another really dangerous aspect, so he can play in the midfield, he can play outside midfield, he can play on the wing. He's got some great running capabilities, run and dash, hit the scoreboard from 50 metres out. This man could be very damaging as well, so top 5 this year's looking pretty good. But yeah, I reckon once Harry Sheezel can develop, watch out other clubs, because he's going to be a great player, I reckon. So here is the current top 5 draft order. So number 1, we've got the Giants. Number 2, we've got North Melbourne. Number 3, we've got North Melbourne. North Melbourne do have great bounty right there at 2 and 3. I feel like they could really set up the draft. Now, Essendon's pick number 4 does loom to be an interesting one as well. They could go with one of these blokes inside the top 5, which you'd think if Elijah Tastas is still available, to go with him as a bit of a taller midfielder. But if not, they could really shape the draft. And then Gold Coast at pick number 5. Every pick does slide back one after a bid. So if the Giants pick... They bid on Will Ashcroft, then their pick slides back to number 2. Ashcroft goes number 1. North have 3, 4, Essendon 5, Gold Coast 6, etc., etc. That is how it works. But yes, these top 5 players are going to be absolute guns in the future, I reckon. Alright, so we're going to wrap it up there. Feel free to let me know what you guys think of these players. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in the next another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.